Alright folks, welcome back. It's Sunday the 7th of July 2019 and a great day if you've been following this particular story. Now, this is a story in The Sun by Jenny Offord. Now, it surrounds this guy here. I don't know if you're aware of who he is. His name's Jeffrey Epstein. He's a notorious pedophile. Alright? Alleged pedophile. He has been accused many times in court of lots of different things, solicitation of kids for prostitution, etc., etc., and he's always managed to get away with it. But here's something's happened. It says here, billionaire Jeffrey Epstein charged with sex trafficking dozens of underage girls after being arrested at an airport. Now, just a few months ago, he settled a case. It was going through the New York courts in which some girls were suing him because they couldn't get any criminal cases against him, so they took him to court civilly, and he settled out of court with them people. But the history goes back even further. I'm just going to try and, give you a wee bit of that history. Quite a few years ago, he came up with against some charges of having sex with kids and solicitation, and because he's really well connected to the top politicians. He's a billionaire, as I say. He was a hedge fund manager in Manhattan, so he knows all the Manhattan people. He's friendly with lots of people in terms of politicians, all the top politicians in America, including the Clintons. He has an island called St. James Island in the Caribbean, very, very close to Richard Branson. And it's been alleged that on that island is where he takes underage kids. Now, his jet plane that lots of people have flown on, the likes of Kevin Spacey, do you remember him? He's been arrested. Do you remember? He was arrested for underage sex or attempting to have underage sex with people. He possibly is one of the guys. There's different ways of looking at this. There's a Kevin Spacey angle where Kevin Spacey is possibly maybe going to go to prison, so he's maybe talking about him because Kevin Spacey's ran about with him over in this island. And then you've got this other case that just happened, a guy called Raniere, and it's called the NXIVM case. There's a cult in America. It was called the NXIVM cult. I know a lot of people know about it. And this cult was very, very well connected. What they were doing was they were enslaving women, and it was high profile women. Some of them were actresses in Superman films and stuff like that. There's a I don't know if you know about a company called Seagram's. The company that it's world famous for drink. Well, it's the Broadman sisters. They are the heiresses of that. They were in this cult, and they're billionaires, and they were high up members in the cult, etc. But they've all been done. The Raniere guy's just been found guilty of all sorts of racketeering charges, child molestation, trafficking of children. The Broadman sisters, they're involved, so they could all be everybody could just be talking and linking this dude in. If that is the case, that means then that the major politicians, that includes Clinton, that includes Hillary Clinton, they've all been over there. There's been all sorts of rumours about them and underage kids, and it seems that that's what they like to do in their spare time, and they do it on this island. They don't do it here, so or rather in the States. So let me just start reading the story. That's just a wee bit of background. Sorry it's taking nearly 4 minutes for that, but it's best you know who this guy is. So anyway, and the article will go into some of what I've just described, but I've been kind of on this guy for a long time. Anyway, so and he seemed to be getting away with it, so that was it's really annoying. So billionaire sex ring, billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, and he is a billionaire, charged with sex trafficking dozens of underage girls after being arrested at the airport. Two officials said Epstein, 66, was taken into custody on Saturday on charges involving allegations that date back to the 2000s. The Associated Press reported. There he's there. Epstein is expected to appear in a Manhattan federal court on Monday on charges that could reportedly put him away for a maximum of 45 years. The Daily Beast reported that Epstein will be accused of sexually exploiting dozens of underage girls after paying them cash for massages. Epstein allegedly molested or sexually abused the girls at his mansion in New York and Florida. He is expected to be charged with one count of sex trafficking of minors and one count of conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking of minors, according to reports. Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. That's a private airport, so he's come in his own plane, after flying in from Paris, according to NBC News. The Miami Herald reported that a dozen federal agents broke down the door to Epstein's Manhattan townhouse to execute search warrants at around the exact same time. The arrest comes amid renewed scrutiny of that once secret deal that ended a federal investigation and allowed Epstein to plead guilty to lesser charges, and that was a scandal, right? They thought it was a sweetheart deal because the Manhattan prosecutor at the time, I can't remember his name, but they reckon that he was in the deal. All sorts of politicians organised this sweetheart deal for him so that he could plead to a lower charge. It said here, he pled guilty in Florida to state charges of soliciting and procuring a person underage for prostitution. He was sentenced to 13 months. Now, he should have got 13 years, right? Thanks to a sweetheart deal with cops. Epstein was required to reach financial settlement with dozens of his once teenage girls victims, and he had to register as a sex offender. On Wednesday, Federal Appeals Court ordered the unsealing of nearly 2,000 pages of records, that's big news, related to a civil case that may contain lurid claims about Epstein's sexual history. Alright. The second US Court Circuit of Appeals ruling relates to records in a since-settled defamation case after Epstein pleaded guilty to soliciting in 2008. Records in the defamation case contained descriptions of sexual abuse by Epstein, along with new allegations of sexual abuse by numerous prominent American politicians. Do you get that now? So listen, numerous American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, a well-known prime minister and other world leaders. Now there's Saudi Arabians in there, there's all sorts in there. Right, now this is all going to come out. According to court documents in Florida, and they'll be bricking themselves, authorities say at least 40 underage girls were brought into Epstein's Palm Beach mansion for what turned into sexual encounters. 40. Female fixers allegedly looked for suitable girls locally and in Eastern Europe and other parts of the world. So female fixers, women that were employed by him, take big money to solicit kids for sexual purposes for these high up politicians, and there's some well-known people involved in that. I'm thinking of one particular woman. I'm not going to mention her name, but once again it comes back towards NXIVM. NXIVM would be soliciting, could be using their influence to solicit kids to go towards this group. The appeals court said the judge presiding over the New York case sealed about 1/5 of all documents filed in the case, some without just cause or proper explanations for their sealing. In order that some records be released as soon as lawyers have a chance to appeal to the entire Second Circuit if they choose. Others, the 3-judge panel decided, will have to be reviewed by a lower court judge before they are released. And there he's there. Well, you're going to go to jail, buddy. You're going to have to start talking. And remember that there's that other dude, the Hollywood guy. Do you know who I hope it brings in? Guys, and there's been alleged allegations against him, like De Niro, people like that. You know, that would be just the icing on the cake. But the politicians, Clinton and all them that were involved in it, there'll be British politicians in it, there'll be Saudi Arabians, there'll be all sorts. So he may just start squealing. If he's going to do 45 years, he may just try and make a deal and they'll all go down. Brilliant news. Brilliant news. Anyway, folks, that's went on about 9 minutes. I'm not sure if you're still with me or you fell asleep. But listen, if you like the content, and I'll be definitely updating on this, if you like the content, hit the like button, share, and think about subscribing. Peace out.